Think back to when you were 7 years old. Try to remember what a summer vacation felt like. It felt like an entire lifetime, didn't it? You could wake up, build a fort out of blankets, learn to ride a bike, scrape your knee, eat ice cream, and watch the sun go down, and it still only felt like a single day. Every single hour felt massive. Now, think about your last 5 years. If you were like most people, they probably went by in a sudden flash. You celebrate New Year's Eve, you blink, and suddenly, you are buying gifts for December all over again. You might even find yourself looking in the mirror, wondering where all those months went. Is time actually speeding up? Or is your brain playing a massive, lifelong trick on you? You are not crazy. You are experiencing one of the greatest mysteries of human psychology, and it happens to every single person on Earth. But the reason why this happens is not what you think. It is not just about getting older, and it is not about being busy. It is a strange, invisible mix of human biology, memory, and how your eyes talk to your brain. Let's start with a very simple idea. When you are exactly 10 years old, one single year makes up 10% of your entire existence on this planet. To a 10-year-old, a year is a huge chunk of their personal history, but when you turn 50, 1 year is just 2% of your life. Your brain naturally measures passing time by comparing it to what you have already lived. To an older person, a year feels like a drop in the ocean simply because their ocean is so much bigger. Scientists later discovered that this math problem is only a tiny piece of the puzzle. The real answer is far more unexpected. It lies deep inside the physical wiring of your head. Deep inside your skull, your brain is acting like a high-end movie camera. When you are young, this camera records in perfect, high-definition speed. It captures thousands of frames every single second. Why? Because everything around you is brand new. Your brain is like a dry sponge, desperately taking in every tiny detail of the world. A brightly colored bug, a new toy, or the loud sound of a thunderstorm all demand intense focus. Because your brain processes so much fresh information, it takes much longer to process the day. Time feels slow, rich, and heavy. But as we get older, something inside that camera begins to change. The networks of nerves in our brains grow larger and much more complex as we age. As these physical nerve pathways get longer and more tangled, it takes a tiny fraction of a second longer for electrical signals to travel from one side of your brain to the other. At the exact same time, our brains become slightly slower at processing moving images. Our internal camera drops its frame rate. We literally take in fewer mental pictures per second than a child does. Because there are fewer frames, our brain stitches the memories together much faster. It is exactly like watching a time-lapse video of a flower blooming. The fewer pictures you take, the faster the event seems to fly by. The less your brain captures, the faster time slips through your fingers. However, that wasn't the biggest surprise. Psychologists uncovered another hidden mechanism controlling our internal clock. It has nothing to do with how our brain is physically built, but rather how we choose to live our daily lives. Think about your morning routine today. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you take the exact same road to work or school, and you see the exact same people. Your brain is a highly efficient machine. When it sees something it already knows perfectly well, it stops recording. It simply throws the memory away to save energy. This creates a strange and powerful illusion, because you have almost no new memories from your daily routine. Looking back makes that time completely disappear. When a child learns how to swim for the very first time, it requires massive brain power, fear, and focus. The brain stamps that memory deep into the mind forever. But for an adult doing their boring paperwork for the 100th time, the brain goes into sleep mode. Zero new memories means zero feeling of time passing. We remember the first time we drive a car, our first kiss, and our first day at a new job. We do not remember the 500th time we do those things. What happened next in this field of research changed everything we know about our internal clock. Researchers looked past the brain's wiring and looked closely at the chemicals inside our bodies. They found that a powerful chemical called dopamine controls how we estimate time. Dopamine is the reward chemical. It makes us feel excited, motivated, and sharply focused. Children are constantly flooded with dopamine. They are wildly excited by almost everything they see. But as we age, our resting dopamine levels naturally begin to drop. Without that high level of daily excitement and focus, our internal stopwatch simply runs slower, making the outside world seem to rush past us. So, what does this actually mean for us? Are we doomed to watch our lives hit the fast forward button until the very end? Not necessarily. Once you know exactly how the trick works, you can break the illusion. If time speeds up because your brain stops recording new things, the solution is incredibly simple. Give your brain something to record. Force your internal camera to turn back on. Take a different road home from work. Learn an instrument you have never touched. Visit a place you have never seen. Taste food you are afraid to try. When you force your brain to process unknown, new information, you force it to slow down and pay attention. Time does not belong to the clock ticking on your wall. It belongs to the memories you create. If you want to slow down time, you do not need a time machine. You just need to look at the world through the eyes of a child and never stop finding something new.